but they can't unqualify what God has qualified.
Hey young man, I believe in you. Hey young man, there's nothing you can't do. Hey young man, I believe in you. Hey young man, I'm here to tell you the truth. Hey young man, I believe in you. Hey young man, there's nothing you can't do. Hey young man, I believe in you. Hey young man, I'm here to tell you the truth. Hey young man.
Hey young man, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and put on your notifications. Share this video, let other brothers know about this video. I'm coming to you with a really cool topic today, a really interesting topic today. Today I want to talk about the fact that young men are bailing and have been bailing out of college for a very long time. There are many reasons that have been speculated as to why this is happening, but for the most part, most young men, especially most young white men are not going to college. They don't want to go to college. The alarming stat is that it's 60% women at most college campuses in the United States of America now, and 40% men. And this is going to change the trajectory of our nation and of the West and of education and of dating culture and marriage as well. Now, I mean, I'm not surprised about this. I've heard this before, but the stat is alarming, 60-40. That is amazing to me. And I knew that men are coming out of college. If you listen to my podcast, I say these stats about young men in the beginning of the podcast. New podcast out, so go ahead and check it out. But I'm telling you right now, young man, there are other things that you can do outside of college. College is not for everyone. And what I've been hearing, some of the criticisms is because a lot of the humanities, a lot of the liberal arts, the feminization of education is contributing to the fact that young men are not trying to go to college. They don't want to be there. I mean, they have to deal with professors, F-word students, angry women, bitter women who have been indoctrinated into F. So why would you want to deal with that? They have to deal with date rape on campus and all of these things that come with being a young man, feeling like a predator, being seen as a predator because simply you are a young man. All of these things that a lot of young men are just not willing to deal with. So what are they doing? They are doing other things. They're going, instead of graduating high school, they are going to graduate high school, and then they're going off into the world to get work experience. And listen, this is going to definitely change the trajectory of dating. It already has, because most women are hypergamous. So if more women have college education and degrees, they want to date a man that has the same type of degree. Like they want a man that has a college education or better. And so what young men are going to have to do to make sure they're valuable to a lot of young women out there is, even if they're not going to college, try to make money and be maybe entrepreneurs or have different and multiple incomes, be able to flex so that these young women know that I am a man of value because I do have this money. Unfortunately, a lot of times women, they look to men for security. Well, I won't say unfortunately, because that's the way God made it. Men are supposed to make women feel secure. That is just what it is. That's biology, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way God made it. But a lot of women want to look and make sure that, the money is right. And if they feel like I'm making a certain amount of money, well, then I'm expecting this man to come to the standard. But if most men today don't have college educations, a lot of women are just going to turn the other way. This is what I suggest when it comes to dating. Maybe try to date someone that is a woman and hasn't had a formal education. Maybe she went to trade school. Maybe she's a nurse. Maybe she's an assistant. Maybe she has a regular job. I don't think she would think that she's better than you in those situations, young man. Maybe you need to look for a woman that doesn't have a college degree or doesn't have a college education. I'm not saying that you should discriminate, but I'm just saying the likelihood of a woman wanting to be with a man that doesn't have what she has or more because of hypergamy is low. So maybe find a woman who hasn't had a formal education and is fine dating or marrying you who may not have that college degree. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's so crazy how dating has become so complicated. Back in the day, men just worked honorable, honest jobs. They work at the grocery store. They could be a grocery store manager. They didn't have to have all these qualifications. And a woman, she was fine with being a stay-at-home mom or a housewife, or maybe working as a secretary, maybe even working with her husband's business. And that was that. Like nowadays, it's all of this stuff stuff. You got to have a degree. You got to have the best car. You got to have, it's all of this dumb nonsense, in my opinion. So that's what I would suggest to you. But listen, young man, since a lot of you are not going to college, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I didn't go to college. I did some college, some community college. It wasn't for me. Then I did some trade school, and I didn't even work in the field that I went to the trade school for. But, you know, I got married and I decided I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. But I think that ultimately it's your decision. And I don't think we should be bullying men into wanting to go to college, especially if the education system is not helping them and is against them. Literally. I read this book called The Boy Crisis by Dr. Warren Farrell, and he was saying that most education systems, from all the public school, all the way from elementary, all the way to college, is geared and catered towards women, not so much men. That's why men or boys always is in suspension more than women. They're in trouble more. They always have disciplinary marks because they just don't know how to deal with boys. They want the boys to be just like girls and sit down, be quiet, you know, not take that leadership position, no talking back, no asking questions. And a lot of times that's just not the nature of boys. Boys are energetic. Boys are, you know, they're excited. They want to move around. And you're trying to tell them to sit in a class all day for 8 hours like young girls. It's just not going to work. And that's just how it is for the education system. So I totally understand, young man. So this is what I want to do. I want to encourage you and give you some alternatives to college. If you're one of those young men that said, I'm not going to college after high school, or you're not sure what you want to do as you're looking and seeking God and you're trying to seek purpose and what you should do, here's some jobs that you could do. Number one, here's some things you could do. You could go to trade school. You could become a plumber, an electrician. I mean, do some construction, you know, lay brick, build houses, different things like that, build cities, build malls. I mean, it's dangerous work, a lot of it, but they pay very, very well. And we need you to do these things so the world can go round. I appreciate you for doing these things. You know, men work more hours and they work more dangerous jobs than women. And so I want to say thank you for that, because if you didn't, I wouldn't have the house that I live in. I wouldn't have the malls and the safety and all of the stuff that we have now. Maybe work in security. Security is a good job. Waste management is a decent job. The post office, working there, that is a decent job. Like I said, being a plumber, being an electrician. Maybe you want to go and start your own business and be an entrepreneur, whatever that dream is, or whatever it is that you've always been wanting to do, God has placed in your heart. Now is the time to do it after college, because you're not going to college anyway. And why would you want to go if you've decided not to rack up a whole bunch of debt when you can just start your journey? You can start your career. I wrote some things down, so I'm looking at a paper. Lawn services. You can cut grass. You can go into customer service. Google Certificates has IT training, IT support training, data analyst training, and project management training. What about being security? What about being a correctional officer, a barber? What about a police officer, a fireman? What about enlisting in the army? I mean, there are so many things that you can do as a young man that can bring you some money, that can add value to your life. You're serving the community, you're serving others. I met a really nice young man who is a plumber, and he's only 23, lives by himself. He actually shoots music videos and different artistic projects on the side, but his main thing is plumbing, and he lives by himself. He is doing very, very well for himself. He has his certification. I mean, why not do something like that? He was saying that he has more experience than a lot of people and a lot of friends in his age group who went off to college to get these big degrees and now they're in debt. So he's been doing this for a long time. It's nothing wrong with getting your hands dirty. And I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter what society is saying, young man, about you. They may say you're dumb because of this. They may say you're unqualified and you're stupid because of this. But they can't unqualify what God has qualified. God has qualified you. He's called you. You are who God has said you are to be and will be. He knows the plans for you, Jeremiah 29:11. And you taking the traditional approach of going to school, that may not be it for you. Maybe you want to do other things. There's nothing wrong with going out and getting security, getting experience. What about being a pilot, young man? Going to school to be a pilot or something like that. There are so many things you could do. What about being a nurse? Going to school to be a nurse. What about working with special needs kids? There's a lot of positions that need men in those those places because there's actually a lot of boys. Boys are more likely to be diagnosed with special developmental delays than girls. And there's a lot of women in these fields, but they need men in these fields as well, as far as nursing, as far as, specialists that deal with kids that have autism, or they're on the spectrum, or they have developmental delays. There's a lot of men that are needed in these programs because a lot of boys are in these programs and they're around women all day. So you got to just think about these things. There's so many things that you can do, and who knows, one door opens, one door opens, one door opens, and before you know it, you're on your purpose. I'm going to put a link below. There's going to be a career and aptitude test by Psychology Today. It's pretty long, about 40 minutes, 260 questions, I believe. But it's going to help you learn what kind of career your personality or you should be doing that can help you go into the right step. I say go for it, young man. I say if college is not for you, go to school for a trade or just start working, open your own business, do what you need to do. If you're good at baking and cooking, making cupcakes, I don't know, whatever it is you're good at, fashion, open that streetwear line, do whatever it is that you need to do. And don't worry about in the dating scene, because when you on your purpose, the right woman will come along. If a lot of women don't want to date you because you're not on their level, you don't have the college degree, you don't have that type of education that they want, or you're not balling out of control because you may have a job that doesn't pay as much, doesn't mean you can't grow. Get with the woman that wants to grow with you, okay? Instead of someone that already wants you to be there and they don't want to do the heavy lifting. Listen, I just gave you a key. That's one way to vet a lot of these ladies out here. Are they with you because they see the potential in you? They know that you're on your purpose. They want to grow with you. Or are they just with you or messing around with you because you seem like you know the latest trends? You just trendy. You just, here today, and you can help them. But are they trying to help you? Are they selfless, not selfish? Anyways, young man, I hope this video encourages you. There's a lot of things that you can do. God bless you. I love you. Jesus loves you, and so do I.